Welcome back. As the kids return to school, we too are beginning our new program year officially today. Whether you have been gone all summer, whether today is your first Sunday ever here, or whether you've been here every week, welcome back. We return to 2 services today. Choir, Muse, pop-up choir are back. Religious exploration for all ages is officially happening in the RE wing. Committees are ramping back up. Journey groups and chalice circles are meeting for the first time. It is an exciting time of year with that new crayon smell in the air. Each year, we turn our focus here at the fellowship to a particular theme that we want to delve into more deeply. We do have a theme for each month, but we also have a big overarching focus for the whole year, and they overlap. And this year, as we are putting love at the center and practicing our newly articulated UU values, we are remembering what it means to be a part of this faith community, and that it means that we embrace ourselves and each other in our full humanity. In that sense, you might say that we are a humanistic faith. Not humanist in the sense that we reject any idea of a deity. That's a very narrow definition of humanism. But humanism in that as Unitarian Universalists, we explore the realms of spirituality, but we are concerned most with this life, here and now, with our capacity as human beings to connect deeply, to learn, to grow, to create authentic community. This year, we are focusing on what it means to be wholly human. Holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y, holy human. Of course, it is a play on the word holy, H-O-L-Y, but that is a powerful acknowledgement that all the things that make us human, our wholeness, are sacred and worthy of our consideration, exploration, and celebration. As part of this exploration of being wholly human this year at the fellowship, as I mentioned during the Wonderbox time, we are going to be doing a series of services, roughly once a month, give or take, called Tools for Being Human. These are services that are going to focus on the tools or skills that we all need in our back pocket in this endeavor of being human. As a humanistic faith community, we are uniquely able to support you in developing those skills that we are not invited to develop necessarily in other parts of our lives. Things like how to support someone who is grieving, or how to grieve yourself, how to apologize or make reparations, how to have a human body and take care of it without succumbing to all the pressures that our society puts on our bodies, how to let go of a grudge, how to release ourselves from religious baggage. Now, we don't have all the answers for these big skill sets, but we hope to help you add a few tools to your toolbox as we practice being fully human, wholly human this year. And this month, September, our theme is Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. And so we are practicing our very first Tools for Being Human Sunday today in thinking about what it means to offer welcome, radical welcome. Our fellowship's mission statement used to say, the very first line was, "We welcome everyone." But unfortunately, that's not really true. First, it's not really true because we don't succeed at welcoming everyone. And then when we put that as the first line on our mission statement, it's like a higher bar from which we fell. But secondly, and this is gonna feel a little weird to hear, but we aren't really trying to welcome everyone. There are people whose values are so different from ours that they aren't going to feel welcome here, and that's okay. Now, we're not actually excluding people. The person is welcome, but if they have very different beliefs from us, they're not going to necessarily feel welcome. And there are behaviors that are not welcome here. I always try with my children to differentiate the person from the behavior. You're a good person, I love you, that behavior was unacceptable. If someone insists on using hateful language to refer to our GLBTQ beloveds, that is behavior that is not acceptable in this place and will not be welcome. If someone believes that there is only one path to the divine and that everyone else is going to be sent to damnation, that's not at all what we say here. And so they're not going to feel welcome. And if that same person wants to try to convert people here in our coffee hour, that activity, that behavior is not welcome. Now, as a universalist, I believe that God loves everyone. But that does not mean that I have to welcome everyone. Good thing I'm not God. Another way to say that is, they're not going to hell, but they can't stay here. And so welcoming everyone didn't really work. So a couple of years ago, we changed our mission statement to begin with, "We welcome seekers." Our vision statement explains it like this: we embrace each person as their authentic self. We foster curiosity and wonder in people of all ages. We explore spirituality from diverse sources, and we balance passion with open-mindedness. Being truly welcoming to seekers, to those who need to be in this place, is actually harder than it sounds. Sure, everybody's welcome here. We welcome seekers, it's great. But in the spirit of those tools for being human, I have some tips and tricks for helping us be a more welcoming place. Okay, our first tool, slide here, is that we need to make a real effort. Now, I know some of us are introverted. Even if you're introverted, try to approach people, to talk to them. Not just the people you know here, the people who are your friends. If you see someone who's standing alone, who is looking around maybe a little bit tentatively or confused, talk to them, approach them, welcome them. This is not only the job of the staff, and it is not only the job of the people whose official volunteer role that morning is welcomer. We are all welcomers. If you have an open seat, someone's looking around, wave them over with a smile. Anybody see the movie Forrest Gump? Do you remember the scene on the bus? You can't sit here. Wasn't that the most heartbreaking scene? Don't be the kids on Forrest Gump's bus. Whatever you do, never say, "Oh, these seats are taken." Ever. That's my tool. If they actually are taken, say your spouse just got up to go to the bathroom, if that seat is taken, scoot over. Make a seat. Get creative. Grab another seat. Invite that person in. And they might say, "Oh, no, it's fine. I'm here with my friend. I'm going to go sit over there." Great. But you welcomed them. What a gift. There are studies that show that when a sanctuary of a congregation is about 75% full, it feels full to the newcomers. It feels totally full. They don't feel like there's space for them. And so if you come in and you sit down 3 to 5 seats away from the person next to you, we are not leaving space for the people who need to come in. The people of Jewish faith, when they celebrate the Seder, the Passover Seder, they leave an empty chair to make symbolic space for the prophet Elijah in case he comes back. When people of Christian faith put candles in their windows at Christmas time, they are symbolically saying to the Holy Family, if you stop here, there will be room for you. Making physical and metaphoric space for people in our actions and our words is a true act of welcome. Number 2, try not to make assumptions. Now this is wild. Our society, almost every question that is sort of the default small talk question that we are taught to ask people makes an assumption. Where do you go to school? What do you do? They make assumptions that the person is in school or has a paying job. Or sometimes we make assumptions even just in how we talk to someone. And I have heard this more than once. We greet someone who is new here. We say something like, "You are gonna love it here. We are not like other churches." What assumption does that make? It assumes that they had some sort of negative experience at another place. And maybe that is true. And maybe we will find that out when we get to know that person more. But I assure you that having your very first experience be someone bad talking another congregation is not very welcoming. Be curious, be open-ended questions. The best thing to say if you're not sure if someone is new is, "I'm not sure if we've met. And then you say your own name. So for me, I would say, "I'm not sure if we've met. I'm Christina." So let's try that, but say your own name. We did this at 9. People wanted to say Christina. Unless that's your name, don't say that. Okay, ready? "I'm not sure if we've met. Very good, very good. You don't want to say, "Hey, are you new?" Because they're like, "No, I've been here for 15 years. Where have you been?" Or like, "No, we met last week. I'm not sure if we've met." Some other helpful phrases that don't make assumptions are, "What brought you here? Is there anything I can answer or help you find?" If you don't know the answer, that's fine. You can find someone who does. Another phrase is, "What a beautiful shirt or bag or dress or tie. I'd love to hear the story about that." Or, "How do you fill your time when you're not here?" And sometimes people are like, "What?" And you're like, "Jobs, hobbies, family. Tell me about yourself." How do you fill your time? Another assumption that we might make is about someone's pronouns. When a person's gender expression is not traditionally in line with the gender binary, or maybe they're transitioning, we run the risk of misgendering them. A boy with long hair might be called she, or we might say, "Excuse me, sir," to a trans woman. For those of us who identify as cisgender or identifying with the gender that we were assigned at birth, we might not realize how painful that can feel to someone. So we have begun putting our pronouns on our name tags and trying to introduce ourselves, Christina, she, her, with our pronouns to try to normalize it so that everyone has a chance to let us know the pronouns that they use. If everyone does it, then it doesn't feel to those folks who might need to do it that they're being weird or othered. It's just a thing that we do. So try not to make assumptions. And then my third and final tool is, for me, the most important. Try to welcome the person as their authentic self, in their fullness, or as our focus this year says, as wholly human. Sometimes we welcome someone and we try to, in an attempt to connect with them, we welcome explicitly the one salient identity that we recognize: their perceived gender or race, family structure, ability, disability. Several years ago, the UUA put out this graphic to help people talk to young adults in coffee hour. It's called Coffee Hour Caution. It has a bunch of do's and don'ts. One of them is, don't ask, "How old are you?" Like, rule of thumb, just generally, for all people. It's not the first question we need to ask. It's a perfectly fine question, just maybe like 3 or 4 conversations later. Ask, instead, it says, "What did you think of service today?" That's a safe thing. Don't say, "Oh, we need more young people here." Say, "It's great to meet you." And, at the first service, we were sharing some of these things, and people were like, no, people don't say that. Hannah and I both had that experience as young adults. Any of my other young adults in here have similar experiences? Yes, Addie's nodding. Yeah. We're so glad. Oh my God, a young person, we're so glad you're here. Like, okay, I feel real welcome right now. That's just terrifying. There are similar things that we do to people when we notice or assume that they're from a particular demographic, especially if it's a demographic that maybe we don't have a lot of here. We get really eager to welcome them, and that makes them actually feel like an other. So, welcoming them as a whole person. So here are some examples. These are real life examples that have happened here. I don't say this in any way to shame. I say it because some people are like, no way, there's no way we would ever say anything like that. I promise you, yes. So you see a family you perceive that there are two moms and maybe two very young kids. You might feel tempted to say, oh, we have lots of lesbian parents here. Let me introduce you to Reverend Hannah. She's also a lesbian mom. Instead, say, hello, what beautiful children. Let's get you some name tags. I can show you the nursery. Now, for me, as a white mom of two biracial children that we adopted, I can tell you that there are very, very few things that you can ask or say about my family that do not feel weird or invasive. These are actual things that get said to me on the regular. Where are they from? No, where are they really from? Are they real brothers? Meaning, are they biologically related to each other? I assure you they are real brothers. They are not biologically related to each other. Were they in foster care? Are you planning to have more kids? Look, I am more than happy to talk about my family and how we came to be, but not with strangers. In any of these situations, just stick with, what beautiful children. You're good. That's a beautiful, never, ever you can go wrong with, what beautiful children. Another one, a young man walks in to the fellowship looking tentative, and he's carrying a Bible, because that is what he was taught to do when you go to church. Don't say, oh, we don't read the Bible here. Do say, welcome, we haven't met. What brought you here this morning? In fact, the truth is that we pride ourselves on our open-mindedness and our willingness to embrace a wide spectrum of religious and non-religious beliefs, and that is the hallmark of what it means to be you. It's why many of you came to the fellowship in the first place. But what that sometimes inadvertently or maybe intentionally translates to is we aren't a Christian church, and therefore anything Christian is not who we are. And friends, that is patently untrue. We embrace humanism, Buddhism, paganism, earth-centered traditions, Judaism, atheism, pantheism, and many more. And isn't that beautiful? And we also embrace Christianity as one of the valid paths to find inspiration and make meaning in our lives. We cannot scold people for embracing religious language, valuing prayer, believing in heaven, wearing a cross necklace, or using the word church. We just can't if we actually want to be welcoming. Another example, a black couple comes in, you invite them to sit near you. Good job. You ask them what church they used to go to, and you ask them if they like gospel music. It's like my buzzer. Did you hear the assumption? The assumption is that we think that they are definitely Christian, that they definitely have a preference for something. No group of people, not one group of people, not people of color, not white people, not disabled people, not queer people, not trans people, no group of people is a monolith. None. We know this. And when we stop to think about it, but our brains do this very useful but sometimes annoying thing that they evolved to do. Man, being human, being wholly human, can sometimes have its challenges. Our brains use shortcuts. Biases are brain shortcuts. Having this big old brain inside our head takes a lot of energy. And so our brain uses shortcuts to try to save some energy. But we have to challenge those biases, those shortcuts, to ask ourselves, is this an assumption that I'm making? Because I think all people in this group are like this. All young people are not college students. All married people do not have kids, nor do they want them, for that matter. All people with kids don't necessarily have a spouse or a co-parent. All trans folks don't transition medically, and it sure as heck isn't any of our business either way. Instead, we ask open-ended questions. How did you find us? What are you looking for? Do you have any questions? That's it. Super easy. Super easy. It avoids those biases, those shortcuts in our brain. Invite people in. Make space for them. Talk to them. Try not to make assumptions. And welcome people as a whole human. Whole human, not just the one aspect of their identity that we might notice. May it be so. And amen.